We've had a few new things kind of come down the line, and I thought I'd do a nice little news roundup. This might be something that I do fairly regularly if there's news to actually talk about, but I also just want to reiterate that there is a website, paizo.com/community/blog. I really recommend you go see it. There's a lot of good information on there. And with that, let's go ahead and talk about that. So, my name is Don. I'm trying to be the Sly Strategist, and let's go ahead and get into it. So, one of the first things I'd like to talk about is there are two new games coming out basically next month and the month after that. There's two that I'm really excited about. However, one that I'm more excited about than the other, and probably not the one you think. So, I'm showing on the screen here, and it's part of the blog. It was announced on there, but there is kind of like a quiz show type app coming out that is going to be released called Pathfinder Lore Masters. It's going to be available on Apple and as well as being available on Android. And there's going to be leaderboards. It's basically going to be a quiz. Let's go ahead and kind of pop over to their site and you can kind of take a look at what they're planning, how things are going to go, and super interested in this particular game. I love Galarian lore and the lore of Pathfinder. Now, this is going to be doing over 6,500 questions. They are going to be about classes. They are going to be about the actual setting. Many things to do. There's going to be different difficulty levels. You can manage your hit points and level up by gaining XP. And there's going to be leaderboards. Now, I am probably going to score very low on the leaderboards, but I am very interested in trying this game out. Once again, you can get to this by going to loremasters.com, and there is a link to pre-order on the App Store and pre-order on Google Play. Now, the next one I wanted to talk about, once again, you can see it on the blog, and that would be Pathfinder Gallowspire Survivors. So this is another BKOM Studios collaboration with Paizo in order to bring a game to us, the users, that has the Pathfinder lore. So very interesting. It seems like it's going to be a pretty good game. It's coming out. They're going to be doing early access on September 14th on Steam. So we'll go ahead and pop over to Steam here. You can kind of get a look at what the gameplay is going to be like, what might be going on. Right now, actually, as we're recording, they're broadcasting developer play. So this is going to be coming out once again September 14th. For early access, it is BKOM Studios with a collaboration for Paizo. Now, one other thing I'd like to talk about on the community blog is they basically had more posts about meet the authors. So you can kind of meet who's actually writing these adventures, who's writing these settings, and who the people behind the scenes are. I usually find these very interesting. So there's three of them this week. One is from High Helm Authors. Each author introduces themselves and gives you a little bit on their backgrounds, what they did, whatever basically they'd like to say. So we have one for High Helm. We also have one for Starfinder Society's Year of Redemption's Rise. It's the same type thing. They go through and they introduce themselves, tell you a little bit about themselves. And as you can tell, when you're dealing with the actual writers, generally speaking, it's going to be very good. And you can kind of introduce to their characters that they like to play. And then another one would be Meet the Authors, Pathfinder Society's Year of Boundless Wonder. Again, same type thing where you kind of get introduced to the authors, what they're doing, a little bit about their backstory, a little bit about their involvement within these particular adventures. So if you like organized play, either Starfinder or Pathfinder, I fully suggest you get to these particular sections. And then the last thing I'd like to talk about, that would be Tales of the Valiant. This is not Paizo or Pathfinder related. Actually, it's probably going to be a competitor, and it more closely aligns with Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, but you might have heard of this as Project Black Flag until very recently. So you might ask why I'm bringing this up. Well, this right now, in kind of like the pre-alpha stage, is going to be released under a Creative Commons license, but this is also, once it gets to publishing, is going to be released under the ORC license, which is that conglomeration of publishers. So it's something interesting to note. And plus, I also want to point out that I like Pathfinder. I'm not going to be doing Tales of the Valiant necessarily content. I already have a fantasy one that I like to play, but I do want to introduce maybe other games that other people could play just because you play Pathfinder doesn't mean that you should lock yourself into just one system. But the reason why this is even coming up is they have an alpha release that you can that's coming up. It's $9.99. You can go ahead and kind of take a look at it. But they also have their first adventure they just released, and that would be Caverns of the Spore Lord for $4.99. So you can kind of see what this system is going to be about. And if you don't want to pay for either one of these, you kind of don't. We can go back to the main page. And if you go back to the main page and you scroll down a little bit, you can actually download the playtest packets that they have so far, and you can kind of take a look. Once again, I wouldn't think that I'm going to be doing anything having to do with Tales of the Valiant, but it is something that we should all kind of pay attention to and kind of expand our horizons a little bit. Now, I hope you did enjoy this little brief news summary. I'm going to try and do these whenever I see a collection of material that might be useful, but I'll say it maybe the third time in this particular video. Don't sleep on the Paizo community blog. Don't sleep on the Paizo forums. There are good things in there to go ahead and take a look. But I do hope you like this, and if you did, feel free to like, subscribe, or hit that notification bell. But whatever you do, I hope you have a great day and happy adventuring. Thanks.